First to Mr. Howard. And you said in a previous debate that the NSA has been, quote, trampling on our Fourth Amendment rights by looking into American phone records. I want to follow up on that with this question. Section 215 of the Patriot Act, the so-called Telephone Metadata Collection Program, collected metadata from the phone companies pursuant to a court order from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, the FISA court. But that law was reformed last year. The new law allows the NSA to make inquiries into suspected terrorist calls only if there is a reasonable suspicion that the number is linked to a terrorist and after getting a federal court order. Next year, another section of the Patriot Act, Section 702, the overseas collection of internet data, expires. If you go to Congress, you're going to have to wrap your arms around that. You'll get the classified briefings, but there's been a lot out in the public thanks to Edward Snowden. The U.S. Constitution's Fourth Amendment has never been found to apply to foreigners overseas. That's what Section 702 focuses on. Do you support the reauthorization of Section 702? And what role does lawful surveillance play in your mind to confront current enemies?
I'm certainly not an expert on Section 702. There's a lot in your question, and I'll try to answer it in the allotted time. I stated earlier, and I'll state it again, the primary job of the federal government is to keep us safe while preserving our rights and liberties. There is a libertarian streak to me that runs strong and deep, and I don't know where it came from, but it's alive and well to this day. I'm a conservatarian, as I've been told. I believe strongly that as long as this authorization that you talked about that went into effect last year does protect the privacy and the rights of Americans, our constitutional rights, then I would fully support it. When it comes to the international, the overseas collection, that's where I have much less concern, because now we're talking about clear and present danger to our nation and to our resources and to our people, both here and abroad, and I would have no problem whatsoever supporting Section 702 as I understood what you just described it. I just have a tremendous desire to see the federal government here at home keep us safe while preserving our rights and liberties.
So, Mr. Vogt and Mr. Mason, as Marines, you were the end beneficiaries of Section 702 information. You were at the pointy end of the spear as Marines, the boots on the ground. If you're a member of Congress next year, I'll start with you, Mr. Vogt. Do you support the reauthorization of Section 702?
I'll emphasize on the boots on the ground is a very unique term, and interesting that you use such, because I wear my boots in Annapolis and I will wear them on Capitol Hill, because our first job is to protect. And as applies to domestic policy, we need to take care of the privacy and protection of our individual liberties. In regard to overseas, as you mentioned, Mr. Mason and myself experienced in those other countries, their information needs to be used in absolutely every way possible to prevent them from coming to our soil. Once upon a time, we protected and prevented from that. September 11th ended that. San Bernardino brought it back home again. It's getting far too close, and I have absolutely no concern for some other foreigner who wants to kill us.
Mr. Mason, I know we already know your answer as a Marine, hell yeah, or hoorah, or whatever, yes. But put more words around it. Why, as a credential matter, should we have a capability to get overseas surveillance?
Well, I worked in the intelligence community for a number of years, National Geospatial Agency, Defense Intelligence Agency, and each particular agency can collect data, and they have to have a particular charter on how they collect that data. So each agency can collect certain data that some agencies can't. It's a bit confusing. However, if you're an intelligence agency, you're authorized to collect the data on foreigners. You're authorized to collect data from overseas, and there's no problem with that. They can collect as much data as they possibly can through phone, through internet, through whatever means is they're capable. However, if it starts to butt up against a U.S. citizen, then it gets into a gray area. They have to get, I believe that they would have to get a warrant served on that particular situation. They have to get a judge to sign that warrant, and that they would have to be able to go and get that information if you're an American citizen.
Yeah, okay, if you're a citizen. Well, I'm asking you, let me be more specific. You're now Congressman Mason. Section 702 comes up for reauthorization next year. Vote for it or against it? This is overseas collection.
Yes, I vote for it for overseas collection.
Okay. All right, folks, we've come to the witching hour where the candidates are given the privilege of asking for your vote and giving you their final pitch. We'll start at that end of the table since we started at this end of the table. Dr. Chang, you have 1 minute or less.
Thank you, everybody, again. If I'm elected, I will secure national border, protect the American, destroy ISIS and terrorists, promote national defense, reduce tax, cut income tax, exempt American over 65 who keep working from payroll tax, create jobs, improve economic growth, repeal Obamacare, reform healthcare system, protect Second Amendment, create more opportunity for veterans, increase tax credit for parents paying for their children's college education cost, reach zero balance of national budget. I will vote for shale gas development in Western Maryland. Please visit my website, wisconsin.com. Thank you. I love America. I'm proud of it. I'm a member.
Thank you. Mr. Picker.
We need someone in this seat who has a long-standing interest in Western Maryland, not just a fleeting election interest. We already have that with Congressman Delaney. He doesn't leave in the district. We don't need two Beltway buddies running for a Western Maryland seat. I live on the Frederick-Montgomery border. I drive 270 every day. I promise you this, I'm going to get one thing right. We're going to get 2 new reversible lanes on I-270, and you're going to save a lot of time each and every day. I'm going to do something. Try to think of what Delaney has done. You can't think of anything. I'm going to do one thing. I've got term limits on the ballot in Montgomery County, and we're going to put 5 tax increase specialists, terminate them. We're going to terminate them in 2016 so they can't run in 2018, and then I'll advance term limits in the Congress too. Remember, Figures for 2 new reversible lanes on I-270, and Figure has focus. I hope you're a Figure picker on April 26th. Get those 2 new reversible lanes.
Thank you. Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Phil. You've done a good job this evening. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I'm going to use my closing statement to address directly John Delaney, the current congressman for the 6th District. I have 2 things to say to John Delaney. Number 1, you recently called out Governor Hogan and implored him, demanded him to take a stand on Donald Trump. Okay, 2 can play at that game. The press is here. I am publicly calling on you, Congressman Delaney, to denounce Hillary Rodham Clinton for a litany of things that she has done, and that includes her private illegal email server that has endangered our national security. Second thing I have to say is you're not doing your job. Let's talk about your job real quick. Let's get a report card on you. Regarding national security, you voted for the disastrous Iran agreement when you had political cover to vote against it. Shame on you. That's a horrible agreement. F. That's my grade for you. The Syrian refugees, I'm giving you an F on that. I've already talked about that. On the jobs and the economy, you vote with the Obama administration over 92% of the time. They and you own this stagnant, jobless economy. F. So you're failing, and I want to go to Congress and represent the citizens of the 6th District. I'm a businessman. I have a plan. I won't forget where I come from. You may be a member of the insider class, but I'm a businessman who wants to go here and get things done and improve the lives of the citizens of the 6th District. Thank you.
better than John Delaney.
Amen.
Hands down, no question. However, there's areas that a lot of folks talk about what they would do. I'm already in a position that I've done it. Next to Governor Hogan, pushed conservative leadership, created jobs, gave business tax breaks for our small businesses, helped promote local companies, sent $25 million back to our local municipalities in the last budget to fix the roads instead of just talking about possibly doing it if he gets elected. Those are things I've done. But more important than that is what you deserve and what you need. And I gave the hint to all of my friends up here in the last debate, and I hope they've taken the clue. Everywhere I go is the Constitution of the United States of America in my pocket, and I hope everyone up here says that now, because I tipped them off to it the last time, and if they don't deserve your vote in the Republican primary, because we are here to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for our future of our children and their children. I will do that for you as your boots on the ground, as your Marine. And now I want all of you to applaud yourselves because you're the civic process, and thank you all for being involved.
If I am fortunate enough to earn the voters' support and respect, I will never ever forget where I come from and who helped me earn the seat. I will always be indebted to you, the citizens of the 6th District. I will seek out your organization, all organizations of the 6th District, for help, direction, and advice when casting votes for the 6th District in the country. I am a third-term county commissioner in Washington County. I've been president the last 2 terms. Last election, I received, and was very fortunate, more votes than any county commissioner ever running for county commissioner in the history of Washington County. This does not happen just by mistake or luck. This is a result of my ability to reach across the party lines. I do extremely well with the Democrats and the Independents, as well as the Republicans in Washington County. And that's what it's going to take for the next Republican congressman to represent the 6th District in Congress. As many of you know, there's 70,000 more Democrats in our district than Republicans. And this was all accomplished without compromising my conservative values. Again, I want to thank everyone for hosting the event this evening and for everyone that's attended. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. I will bring a breadth and depth of experience, energy, and leadership record to the Congress if you elect me as your congressperson. I learned a lot when I worked for President Reagan. We restored our country's standing in the world, we rebuilt our military, and we revitalized our economy. This now needs to be done again today. As your Congresswoman, I will work to strengthen national security, increase business and job growth, shrink federal government intrusion into our lives, and protect our constitutional liberties. I ask for your vote in the primary. A number of people have endorsed me. It's on my website, and they believe that I can bring my ability to get things done to this job. Thank you for your time.
What I'd like to do, I'd like to get our fiscal house in order down in Washington. We've got to start applying business kind of acumen to our economy. I'd like to bring jobs back to America to restore the working man to the middle class. I'd like a tax cut for the lower brackets for a change, not the higher brackets, to make it easier for the little guy to get by and to stimulate the economy. And I want to keep the government out of my everyday life and your everyday life. That's what I'm all about.
All right, as I said before in other debates, I'm that candidate that you've always wanted to run, and here I am. You can vote for me. I won't go along to get along. My goal is not to work across party aisles, nor work with other people. Because we know when people do that, what are they called? They're basically just rhinos. They're Republicans in name only. My goal is try to crush the enemy. I don't want to work with the enemy. I want to crush the Democratic Party just the same way they want to crush the Republican Party each and every day. Republicans have never had that mentality, and if we don't get that mentality, we're going to cease to exist as a party. Another thing is, I think a true litmus test of $20 trillion in debt, there's no money to pay us. None. I'll take no pay. The $174,000 I'm donating to the national debt to pay it down to symbolically embarrass the congressmen and the senators that are in office. And another thing is, I think I could do a lot of good if we brought back dueling into Congress. Thank you.
All right, folks, it's been a long night, and it's really, really hard to run for office. And each of these people have put their name out there. They've asked their families to support them. So please give them a warm round of applause for standing up. And I want to turn for a quick finishing remarks, Mr. Pippy, who is one of the young Republicans here in Frederick County, has a note for you.